Here I am. I was wondering, where am I? Here I am. Good evening, my beautiful ladies and gentlemen. And yes, here in South Africa, it's evening. How are you feeling on the 7th of January? 2024. Wow. Amazing. What is your word going to be for this year? My word is impact. And I'm so happy to be able to gift you this amazing gentleman, Robin Banks. He have given us an amazing video of one of his talks. He is truly not just an inspirational person in South Africa, but right around the world. And in today's recording, you will see he's talking about everything is energy. And we need to turn into it. But the thing that have caught my attention was when he said, I'm a magnet. And love is wonderful. And success must come through you. I love that. And you will see, he will give you 3 pointers and see if you can remember his question on what, how, and who. And like I said, I love it when he said, success comes through you. That is so beautiful. Please enjoy the recording. Have a wonderful, wonderful time. From next week, I will be doing live sessions again. I cannot wait to introduce my amazing guest. All my ladies is from the Diamond Beauties Forever group. And some of the men have already joined my Tanzanite Heroes. Is my male group. And in the future, I will only have these 2 groups that will come and inspire us and inspire the world. Have a beautiful day. Mwah. Bye, everyone.
Just to give you guys a little bit of background about what it is that I do, I mainly teach a program which is called Mind Power. But the presentation I'm doing today is entitled Mind Power for Wealth, Integrating Maps of Consciousness for Success. Now, I know for some of you that might sound a bit complicated, but I give you my word, at the end of the session, you'll have a deeper understanding of how your map of consciousness works and how you can literally create new neural pathways in the brain. So that's my main focus. And today I want to teach you the 3 secrets of success. And please, I'm going to ask you to remember these 3 things. What are the 3 pillars of success? What, how, and who? These are the 3 pillars of success. What, how, and who? So if you're going to be successful in life, the most important thing you need to know is, what do I want? Now, this seems so obvious and so mundane, but would you believe that less than 3% of the population actually know what they want? Most people don't know what they want. They know what they don't want. And what do they spend most of their time focusing on? All the things that they're not happy about. They keep complaining about how unhappy they are about the things that are happening in their lives, not realizing that the more you focus on it, the more you attract it as you experience. So the trick is to become crystal clear about what is it that you want. The second pillar of success, once you are clear about what it is that you want, the second one is, how do I get there? It's so simple. By the way, guys, what I'm teaching you is basic. What do I want? How do I get there? Third step, who can show me how? Because as Tony Robbins says, success leaves clues. So who are the people who have been on the journey and can teach you the system to get you the results? So those are the 3 pillars of success. What, how, and who. So just to give you guys a little bit of background about what I do, is I mainly teach a program which is called Mind Power. I first read the book Let me get you a copy. I first read this book in 1996. What happened is a girlfriend at the time gave me a copy, and she says to me, Robin, you're a very positive person. She says, I think you'll really enjoy reading this guy's book. But little did she know that at the time, I was not the world's best reader, because if I have to give you guys if I have to be honest with you, I used to be a lazy reader. In fact, to be honest with you, I'm still a lazy reader, but I read 2 books a month now. It's called Audible. I get the author to read the book to me. How many of you love Audible? I just love Audible. It is such a great system because I literally go through 2 books a month. I used to struggle to go through 2 books a year. But you know what I loved about reading this book? It only has 145 pages. It is a very, very short book. And not only that, but even from where you are sitting, I'm sure you guys can see that, look, it's got big words. It's got short chapters. Honestly, you could read this book in 3 to 4 hours. Now, it took me a month, and it took me a month for 2 reasons. One, because I genuinely am a slower reader than most people. I really want you guys to know I'm not an intellectual. But the second reason why it took me a month is I didn't just read it, I applied what it said. Now, I'm sure you guys have all heard the saying that knowledge is power. Please let me know in the poll. How many of you agree? Knowledge is power, true or false? What do you guys think? Knowledge is power, true or false? Knowledge is power. By the way, those of you guys who are not near your devices, please just come and vote quickly. Knowledge is power, true or false? Okay, so that's about 70% of you have voted. I won't vote for everyone. But it seems that by far the majority of people agree that, yes, it is true. Knowledge is power. Well, you know what? I don't agree. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power. Applied knowledge is power. Because most people know what to do, but they don't do what they know. How many people on this call know what you should do in order to lose weight? Give me a G for guilty. You know what you should do in order to lose weight. But to do it, ooh, it's another story. So knowing what to do and doing what you know are not the same thing. So I read this book over a month because I didn't just read it. I applied it. I literally would put the book down and I started to listen to what my mind was saying to me. It's called metacognition. Metacognition is thinking about thinking. What am I thinking about? And as a result of reading the book that way, I started noticing some significant changes happening in my life. Then what happened is in May 1999, and I even remember the month because May 1999 was a game changer. May 1999, John Keel came to South Africa and I attended his Mind Power Seminar. Now, in those days, the Mind Power Seminar was once a week for 4 weeks in a row. Any guesses, ladies and gentlemen? Why do you think it was once a week for 4 weeks in a row? Because we could teach it in 2 days. Any guesses? Thank you, Kathy. To apply it. I ask everybody who studies with me, don't just listen to me speak about mind power, because knowledge is not power. I ask every person to make a commitment to yourself. 30 minutes a day to train the brain. Why? Well, you don't go to the gym to watch other people working out. Or do you? I think some of you are like, oh, Robin, I find it so motivational. I have my coffee and I watch. But would you agree, if you go to the gym for 30 minutes a day for 30 days in a row and you work out, will you get fitter? Please let me know in the chat box, yes or no. If you work out for 30 minutes a day for 30 days in a row, you are guaranteed to get fitter. Guaranteed. In the same way, ladies and gentlemen, I guarantee you there's no way you can train your brain for 30 minutes a day for 30 days in a row without radically changing your life. But radical change requires radical discipline. Most people want the change, they're not prepared to do the work. Needless to say, I did the Mind Power course with my mentor in May 1999, and I swear what I'm about to share with you guys is 100% true. The very next month, I quadrupled my income. I quadrupled it. Now, think of how much you're making right now and multiply that by 4. How would you feel if you manifested that income at the end of December? Let me know in the chat box. How would you feel if you manifested 4 times your income within the next 6 weeks? Needless to say, as they say in New Zealand, I was blown away. I always say to the Kiwis, there's no E between the W and the N. It's not blowing, it's blown. Well, Robin, I don't care, mate. I was blown away by mind power, blown away. I was blown away by the results. And I became addicted to mind power. Honestly, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm addicted. I'm always training my brain. I'm training my brain while I'm driving the car. I'm training my brain while I'm in the shower. I'm training my brain while I'm at the gym. I am forever training my brain. I have become addicted. And I need to tell you, the thing that blows me away is seeing my students produce results. People come up to me all the time telling me how mind power has changed their life. The funniest story is I had a woman come up to me in a shopping mall. Oh, Robin Banks. She says, my word, because of you, I'm pregnant. I said, ma'am, I don't remember. I said, how drunk was I? She says, no, man, trust you to think that. She told me she and her husband had been in fertility clinics for 6 years, and they were told that they should forget it. They'd never be able to have children. Within 2 months of doing mind power, she fell pregnant. I said, wow, that's amazing. I said, how did you do that? She said, we use those techniques you taught us. Not those techniques, mind power techniques. And she says, I told my husband he must think potent thoughts. I said, stop thinking you shoot blanks and think Robin Banks. Okay, she didn't say that. I've added that. Sorry, Jasmine, I added that. That's a bit of a joke. But honestly, guys, I am amazed by the results people produce. And I'm very honored to say that in 2003, I started teaching the Mind Power course. And today I literally travel the world teaching Mind Power. I've been doing it for 20 years. And it truly, truly is, I can't believe I get to do this as a job. Like I'm actually working right now. Does it seem like I'm really having a tough time? I love, love, love what I do. And when you find your purpose and you have meaning in your life, life becomes fulfilling. Today, the Mind Power course is a 3-month university. Why? If you do something every day for 90 days, it becomes a habit. So the thing is to make it a habit. And I've been doing it now for 20 years, as I said. So let's go to those 3 pillars then. The first pillar of success, does anybody remember what was the first pillar of success? Please let me know in the chat box. Please interact with me so I know you are joining me. Otherwise, it's your way of saying to me, Robin, you are not alone. We are here with you. So what do I want? What do I want? You know, I had an experience in Sydney, Australia in 2015. Have any of you been to Australia? Let me know in the chat box if you've been to Australia. But I was in a place called Coogee Bay, and Coogee Bay is in Sydney, Australia. And I was in this restaurant, which is, I think it was called the Pavilion. And I'll never forget this moment because they'd messed up my order 3 times. I mean, how do they mess up? It's a simple order. 3 times they brought me the wrong thing. So eventually the maitre d' came up to me, and he's what they call a bogan. Now, a bogan in Australia is a really rough character. Like this guy he had big arms, he had tattoos everywhere, he had a big beard, and he spoke with a very broad Australian accent. And he was quite an intense character. And this guy comes up to me, and in this very broad Australian accent, he says to me, what are you after? So I looked at him and I said, excuse me? He says, what are you after? I'm like, what am I after? And he could see that I'm looking completely confused. He says, listen, mate, I don't mean to be rude. I'm really busy. I just need to know, what are you after? The chicken or the salad? I was like, oh, what do I want? I said, no, I'd like the chicken salad. He says, you want the chicken salad? I said, yes, please. He says, I'll get that sorted for you. So he turns around, walks away, comes back about 10 minutes later, and he puts down in front of me the most beautiful, delicious chicken salad I've ever had. And he says to me, is that what you're after? So I said to him, that's exactly what I'm after. He says, well, there you go. He says, I said, thank you very much. He says, you're welcome. And he turns around to walk away. And as he turned around to walk away, I said to the lady I was having dinner with, do you know what I like about that guy? And she looks at me, she goes, what? I said, clear communication. There was no mistaking what he was asking me for. What are you after? the chicken or the salad? And I was specific because I said, I want the chicken salad. And what did he say? I'll get that sorted for you. So ladies and gentlemen, I believe that every morning when you wake up, God, Allah, Buddha, Krishna, Ra, whatever you call the great mystery, every morning, Leska, when you wake up, you're asked a very important question about your day. What are you after? And what do most people say? Suffering. I'll get that sorted for you. So let me make this clear. Your life is the way it is because of you. Your life is the way it is because of you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the chat box, have I just given you good news or bad news? Your life is the way it is because of you. What do you guys think? Yes, good news or bad news? I couldn't agree more, actually, Linda. I haven't given you good news. I've given you great news. Because if it's true that your life is the way it is because of you and you don't like it, you can change it. How? All I have to do is change me, change my energy, change my vibration. And do you know that you are like a magnet? Ladies and gentlemen, science has proven that everything in the universe is made up of energy. How many of you have heard this? Please give me a me in the chat box. Science has literally proven that everything in the universe is made up of energy and vibration. And everything has an energy signature. The reason you can listen to your favorite radio station is you have to tune into the frequency. If I want to speak to Kane, all I have to do is dial his number because I've got him in my phone. As I speak to him, my voice is converted into a digital code called the binary code made up of ones and zeros. It travels through this energy web that surrounds the planet. And because I've got his phone and I've got the frequency, his number, I can speak to Kane. What's my point? Everything has a frequency. Everything has an energy. Success is a vibration of energy. Happiness is a vibration of energy. Abundance is a vibration of energy. Health is a vibration of energy. Love is a vibration of energy. You can literally attract whatever it is you want by learning to tune into the frequency. As Albert Einstein says, everything is energy. That's all there is to it. If you want to manifest something in your life, all you have to do is match that frequency and you cannot help but get it. You cannot help but get it. So everything is energy. You are also made up of energy. And today I'd like to say to you that do you know that you are literally like a magnet in the sense that whatever energy you are vibrating, because you are putting out a frequency all the time, determines what you get back. Have you noticed when you're having a good day, how everything is wonderful? I mean, when you're in love, everything is wonderful. You come outside and someone's like, oh no, it's raining. Oh, I love the rain. So romantic. Someone's just smashed your car. It's fine. Those are material things. Love. Have you noticed when you're having a bad day, how everything seems to go wrong? Of course, it's got nothing to do with you. God has just decided to book on you today. No, it doesn't. You literally attract people, places, circumstances, and events by the energy that you are vibrating. Would you like to learn how to manifest the right energy, how to control and direct your frequency? That's what mind power is about. You learning to control and direct the frequency from the moment you wake up in the morning. Start sending out the right frequency. What are you after? What are you after? The second pillar of success. Does anybody remember what's the second pillar of success? Once you know what you're after, how do I get it? Now, if I had to drop you guys in the middle of the States by helicopter, blindfold, you have no idea where you are, you don't have your phone, you don't have GPS. I drop you by helicopter in the middle of the States and I give you a map and I give you a car and I say, make your way to New York City. What's the first thing you need to know before you can get to New York City? I mean, I've given you a great map, not GPS. I've given you a map. What's the first thing you need to know? Where am I now? So once you become clear about what are you after, the second step is, okay, where am I? And then what I need is I need a map, or in this case with mind power, I need a system to help me get to my destination. So a good map will help you get there. So the same is true of anything you want to manifest. Once you become clear, what am I after? What do I want for my relationship, for my finances, for my health, for my spirituality, for my friendships? What do I want? And then what is the system I can use to get me there? And then the third pillar, does anybody remember what the third pillar is? Who will show me how? Thank you, Nikki. That was very quickly typed. Good grief. Nikki, that was very quickly typed. So the third system is who will show me how? Now, what do all these people have in common? Serena Williams, Lionel Messi, Tiger Woods, Usain Bolt, LeBron James, Tom Brady. They all have great coaches. Would you guys agree? All of them are GOATs. They are the best. And would you agree with me that even people who are at the top of their game have coaches? So for me, I've got a golf coach. Why? I wanna make sure my golf is great. And oh my gosh, it's getting so good. I'm shooting like in the high mid 80s to high 80s. I'm getting there. I've got a gym coach because I thought I knew what I was doing, and this guy is making me do less weight. And I'm like, but I can do more than that. He says, yeah, but you're not doing it properly. Do it properly. He gave me like half the weight. I was like, oh my gosh, this is tough because I wasn't doing it properly. I've got a business coach. I've got a spiritual coach. I've got a relationship coach. So what you need is somebody who will show you how. And my focus, what I coach people, is how to use the power of the mind. And I literally have been traveling the world. I teach, this was in Australia, this was South Africa, the first one was in the States. And I literally travel the world teaching people how to use their minds for success. So what we want, those of you who've been with me before, because I know about 30% of you, what is the main thing we want out of mind power? And I'm testing the people who know me. What do we want more than anything? There's only one thing we're interested in mind power. What are we interested in, ladies and gentlemen? Let me know in the chat box. There's only one thing we want. It starts with an R. We want results. I'm not interested in just hearing that you feel good. I want you to come back to me and say, you know, Robin, I did your mind power course 6 months ago. Since then, I've quadrupled my turnover. I've attracted a fabulous relationship into my life. I've healed my body of cancer. We want results. If you're not getting results, either I'm not doing my job properly or you're not doing your exercises. And I'm pretty confident which one it is. So I want to share this short little story because I was blown away. I was at an event in South Africa, doing an event with Robert Kiyosaki. And at the end of the event, this guy comes up to me. His name is Jason English, tells me that he did my course in 2013, completely changed his business. 2015, he brought his entire team to do the course. And I want you guys to hear the results they produced in 2 and a bit years. It's, excuse the noise in the background. They were finishing the event, and just listen to what this guy told me in 2 and a bit years. Please give me a thumbs up if you can hear it.
Hi guys, I'm here with Jason English. What a cool name. He did my Mind Power course in March 2015. We are at the Robert Kiyosaki event, National Achievers Congress. It's July 2017, and I'm blown away by the results he's just told me that his team produced. So Jason, would you just share with me where you were when you started Mind Power and what you've just shared with me right now, which has blown me away?
So yeah, I mean, I think in March 2015, I attended your Mind Power course in Johannesburg. And at that stage, we were a fairly successful business already. We had grown pretty significantly with turnover from 30 million to 135 million. Employees from 200 to about 500 odd employees. And after attending the Mind Power, it really just inspired me to continue to push. Inspired me to continue to believe in the mind and the positive thinking, and today we're touched on R1 billion business with 2,500 employees. So it's been
R1 billion business.
R1 billion business.
So you went from 135 million per annum to R1 billion in 2 and a bit years.
Correct. So it's been quite an incredible journey, but look, a lot of it also comes down to the team and them believing in this whole mind power, because it's something that I've instilled throughout them, and yeah, I learned a lot of it from you. So thanks for everything that you do for us and keep inspiring us.
Thank you, Jason, and please don't forget my 10%, eh?
No problem.
Don't forget to be awesome.
Guys, let me know in the chat box, what do you think about those results? It went from $3 million per annum to $13.5 million per annum, and from 13.5 million to $100 million per annum. I mean, that is extraordinary. And please remember, guys, for those of you who will join me on my course, I don't ask much, just 10%. That's all I ask, just 10%. I think that's fair. Don't you guys think that's fair? Come on, it's fair. So, would you like to learn today how you can start producing these results? Because for me, as I said to you guys, what I'm interested in, we are interested in results. We want results. So, would you guys like to learn? Give me a yes and say, please teach me, Robbie. Quick question I'd like to ask you. Does anybody know what percentage of the brain they say we as human beings are using? Please let me know in the chat box. What percentage of the brain do they say we are using? 3%, 10%, 3%, 20%, 6.71. Dominic, that's very specific. 1 to 10, 35 says Hershey, 2%, 6%. Well, they say that Albert Einstein, who was a genius, they say that Albert Einstein used 10%. What does that say about some of us? I must be on 3%. I am just scraping by. Can you imagine how radically different your life could be if you could use just 1% more? I mean, for some of you, that's double. That's a lot of change. And can you train your brain to use more of its power? What do you guys think? Can you train the brain to use more of its power? So what I don't understand why people don't get what's more important than learning to train your brain. If you're only using 2 or 3%, imagine if you could use 1% more. And can you use 1% more? Absolutely. So how do we do it? Well, ladies and gentlemen, how many of you, please give me a Y for yes or an N for no, how many of you have heard about neuroplasticity? Neuroplasticity. It's a big word. And I'm very happy to see it's become quite well known. In fact, I only see yeses, which is outstanding. But isn't that a cool word? You know, like the next time you're at a party, you know, you should say to your friends, well, isn't it interesting what they're doing with neuroplasticity these days? Fascinating stuff. And what does neuroplasticity mean? All neuroplasticity means is that the brain is plastic and pliable. And you have the ability to rewire the brain. So what do we mean by plastic and pliable? If you think about it, plastic is a mold, right? Would you guys agree? Sorry, not a mold. Would you guys agree with me that the same plastic that is used to create a toy car can be used to create a beach bat? Would you guys agree? Same plastic, different mold. The same plastic can also be used to create this bottle. Same plastic can be used to create a remote control. The same plastic can be used to create a microphone. All you need is a different mold. So the plastic is the same. So what neuroplasticity means is that we literally have the ability to rewire the brain to think in new ways. And as Niels Bohr says, neurons that fire together, wire together. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Now, what does that mean? That neurons that fire together, wire together. So let me show you a very simple, basic, easy to understand example. I'm going to ask you to think of your brain as like a map. Guys, please let me know, can you see my flip chart? You can. Hey, let me just drop my desk a little bit. Don't you guys think Kane has got the coolest studio in the world? I was in his studio. I'm like, I want one of those. That's a great studio. So I'm going to ask you to think of your brain as being like a map. And let's just take Scottsdale, because I was in Scottsdale recently. There's a huge highway that runs through Scottsdale. I can't remember what it's called. If any of you are from Scottsdale, you can remind me. But in some places, this highway was like 10 or 12 lanes wide. That can take a lot of traffic. Then there's other roads, and you guys in the States have the broadest roads in the world. And some of these can take like 4 lanes. Some roads take 4 lanes. And then there's another road which perhaps takes 2 lanes, 2 lanes on either side. And then there are, you know, in the smaller areas where your suburb is, there might be little one-lane roads. And then even worse than one-lane roads is there some places where you literally have to stop to let a car go. And then there's parts of the map where nobody's ever driven before. It's just bush or it's a dirt road. What's my point? First point, would you guys agree with me? Yes or yes? You can travel a lot quicker on a highway than you can on a dirt road. Would you guys agree you can get there much quicker? Because you can travel much faster to get to your destination. You can travel fast on a 3-lane, but not as fast as on a highway, right? So in the same way, would you believe that you literally have neural pathways in the brain? What do I mean? You've been thinking the same thought over and over again since you were a kid, created a neural pathway in the brain. So it's like a highway. So some of you have been thinking, years, I'll never make enough money. Money mentioned, they even got songs to help you with that. I'll never have money, I'll never have enough money, I'll never find the right. All men are bastards. All men are bastards. All men are bastards. And because that all men are bastards, guess what you attract? Bastards. So, if this is true, and your life is because of you, what do we need to do? We need to create new neural pathways in the brain. So we need to get the brain to think in new ways. Money flows to me in oceans of abundance. Money flows to me in oceans of abundance. Money flows to me in oceans of abundance. But to fire the neuron once is pointless. The way to do it is to keep firing those neurons. Now, ladies and gentlemen, would you guys agree with me? This is so basic. It is so simple. Yet most people don't do it. Most people don't do it. And I cannot think. That is why I train my brain every day. I fire the neurons, baby. Fire the neurons. So neuroplasticity teaches us that neurons that fire together wire together. What do we want to do? We want to make this a habit. So first thing I'd like you guys to know is that would you guys agree with me that success is 80% psychology, 20% mechanics? Would you guys agree? Success is 80% psychology, 20% mechanics. What does that mean? Well, how is it possible that you can have two people who are working in the same business? Let's take real estate, for example. You can have two real estate agents who are both working in the same area for the same real estate agency. They've both been real estate agents for 10 years, yet what's happening is that Adriana is selling 3 houses a month, and Bridget is selling 1 house a month. Now, both of them have been real estate agents for 10 years. They're selling houses in the same area. Why is Adriana 9 times more successful than Bridget? Any guesses, ladies and gentlemen? In fact, let me ask you this question. Is the mechanics the same? Is the mechanics the same? They're both selling houses in the same area to the same people. They've both been real estate agents for the same amount of time. The mechanics is identical. The difference is the mindset. The difference is the psychology. So success is a way of thinking. Success is an attitude. Success is a belief. Success is not something that happens to you. Success is something that comes through you. And you literally create success internally. I'll show you how simple. It is so simple. This stuff is so simple. It is easy peasy, Japanesey, lemon squeezy. All we have to do is know how to reprogram the mind. I mean, question I'd like to ask you, if you woke up tomorrow morning with Richard Branson's mindset, now not Richard Branson's bank account, even though that would be really nice, but if all you woke up tomorrow morning was Richard Branson's mindset, would you make a success out of your life? Please let me know in the chat box. Yes or no? Only thing that was different. You have the same situations, same circumstances, same people, same job, same economy. Everything is identical. Same economy. It's the mindset. So ladies and gentlemen, would you guys agree with me? Success is a mindset set. It's all about psychology. So how do we train the brain for success? Well, that's the good question. Question I'd like to ask you, please let me know with a yes or a no in the chat box. How many people in this room admit that you talk to yourselves? Who talks to themselves? Give me a me, in fact. Give me a me if you talk to yourself. Me, 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 me. Guys, we all talk to ourselves. It's okay to admit it. You're not crazy. They only say you're crazy when you answer back. Okay, who answers back? Give me an I. If you answer back, the way I see it, it's a good conversation. How you doing? I'm fine. You're looking good. Thanks. Who's your daddy? You are. You're my daddy, Robbie. So we all talk to ourselves. Question I'd like to ask you, are you talking out loud? Are you always talking out loud? Sometimes. But if you're not talking out loud, what are you doing internally? What are you doing internally if you're not talking out loud? You are thinking. Thank you, Adriana. And right now, as I'm speaking to you, would you guys agree? Right now, as I'm speaking to you, one part of you is sitting there and listening, but would you agree another part of you is thinking lots of other thoughts? I don't know what you're thinking. Geez, I'm hungry. I need to eat something. Geez, this guy can talk. Does he ever shut up? Well, this guy's got so much energy. How many of you are thinking this guy's got too much energy? What's he on? I have had a cup of coffee. One cup of coffee. It's my only one for the whole week. I saved it for today because when I have a cup of coffee, I go. So I'm sorry, guys. I am a little bit high, but I swear it's just one cup of coffee. So here's what I'm getting at is your mind never stops thinking. Please write that down. Your mind never. Those of you who have practiced meditation, be honest in the chat box. What's the longest period of time you've been able to go with thinking no thought? Be honest. What's the longest time you've been able to go with like 1 second, Shay? I've done like 4 or 5 minutes, but I mean, it is so hard. Because your mind is like a spoiled child. It thinks whatever it wants to think whenever it wants to. No one's controlling the thing. So your mind is like a TV with no off switch. Can you imagine a TV with no off switch? That's your mind. It's on all the time. Right now as I'm speaking to you. It's thinking this, thinking that. And just to get your mind to focus. That's one of the keys. Sharpen your focus. Train your brain to focus. So your mind is always thinking thoughts. Now, it's normal that you're always thinking. The question I want to ask you today is not, are you thinking, but rather, what is it that you consistently think about? Because recognize that whatever you consistently think about, you're going to bring about. What you focus on, you're going to attract. I'm going to ask you to think of your mind as a garden. Your mind is literally like a garden of rich, fertile soil, because any seed that you sow into rich, fertile soil, if you nourish and care for the seed, what happens to it? It grows. If you put a tomato seed into rich, fertile soil and you nourish and care for the tomato seed, what's going to grow? Tomatoes. If you put a weed seed into rich, fertile soil and you nourish and care for the weed seed, what's going to grow? Weeds. And not those weeds, because I know some of you are going, weed, mind power. Would you guys agree with me that it makes no difference to the soil what seed you sow? Would you agree? The soil works with what you feed it. What's your number one job? Feed your mind the thoughts you want it to think. It's that simple, guys. Feed. Literally like you feed your body, the quality of the food you feed your body determines how it responds. The quality of the thoughts you feed your mind determines the life you live. What's more important than feeding your mind? I cannot think of anything more important than training my brain. So literally feed your mind the thoughts you want it to think. Now, those of you who've been with me before, you're not allowed to answer. But question I'd like to ask you in the chat box. If you build a house, where does the house start? Please let me know in the chat box. If you build a house, where does the house start? The foundation. Of course, the foundation. No, even before the foundation. I see some of you are saying the plans. Even before the plan. Even before the plan. Thank you, John. It starts first as a thought. Bang. Would you guys agree? First, you think about building the house. Then you draw the plans, then you dig the foundation, then you build the house. Why? Because, ladies and gentlemen, everything starts first as a thought. Would you guys agree? Name me one thing that man has created that didn't start first as a thought. Zoom was somebody's thought. The car you are driving in was somebody's thought. The house you are living in was a thought. Apple products. Does anybody know how much Apple is worth today? Please let me know in the chat box. How much money is Apple worth? Anybody know how much money Apple Inc. is worth? $3 trillion. Guys, do you know how much is $3 trillion? So a million is 1,000,000. A billion is 1,000 million. A trillion is 1,000 billion. Apple is worth $3,000 billion. That's like my whole year's income in Zimbabwean dollars. Mine is Zimbabwean dollars though. But what did Apple start as? Please let me know in the chat box. What did Apple start as? Literally, it was just a thought. Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, 1976, had an idea to start this company. Anybody know how much they made in the first year? Which I think is a phenomenal for the first year of business in 1976. $1 million. Wow. Any guesses how much they made the second year? $10 million. Any guesses how much they made the third year? $100 million. Talk about exponential growth. How many of you would like those kinds of numbers? Please give me an I if you'd like that kind of growth. I mean, that's like crazy growth. So all I'm trying to show you is anything somebody else can do, it means it's possible. Don't envy them. Be inspired by them. Because if they can do it, what it means is you can do it too. So what do we need to do? Train the brain. So everything starts as a thought. Please write that down, guys. Everything starts as a thought. There's nothing that you have that didn't start first as a thought. Let me pick on somebody over there. Nikki, that beautiful library behind you, it started as a thought. That black shirt you're wearing started as a thought. Nikki, you started as a thought. Yeah, and even if it was a mistake, it was still a thought. Because your father said to your mother, what do you think? And 9 months later, you were, ta-da, I was just an idea. Now I'm here. Guys, everything starts as a thought. Everything starts as a thought. So your self-talk is the most important thing in your life. What you keep saying in your head, because you see, your self-talk has a very powerful impact on your self-image. And what is your self-image? The person who you imagine yourself to be. So what I think affects what I believe affects what I'm going to achieve. What I think affects what I believe affects what I achieve. Now, I've got a friend by the name of Elaine. Whenever I ask her how she is, I'll say, Elaine, how are you doing today? Robin, it's hectic. My life is hectic. And that's her favorite saying. It's so hectic. And her favorite saying is, I can't cope. She's like a stuck record. She says it all the time. I can't cope. Oh, there's so much going on. I can't cope. Now, the more she keeps saying to herself, I can't cope. I can't cope. I can't cope. Feeding that seed. I can't cope. I can't cope. Watering that seed. What do you think she's going to believe? She can't cope. What do you think she's going to achieve? She won't cope. Now, when I explained to her that she's creating it, you know what she said to me? Oh, please, Robin, don't give me this motivational nonsense. Save it for your audiences. She says, you don't know what's happening in my life. Right now, I'm going through a divorce. I can't cope with that. She says, not only that, I went in for performance appraisal at work, they're doing retrenchments. My car needs to go, which you guys call something else when you get laid off, retrenchments. Not only that, my car needs to go in for a service and I can't afford to pay for it because I don't have enough money. She gives me a whole list of reasons. And then she says, you see, Robin, this isn't just happening to me in my mind because you saying it's all in the mind. She says, it's not in the mind. Look at my life. Look at my job. Look at my car. Look at my husband. When she sees that you can't cope in her life for real, what does that make her think again? I can't cope. Look, look, look. You see, told you I've got proof. Now she can think it again. The more she thinks it, the more she believes it, the more she achieves it. And it becomes what we all know is called a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more you think about it, the more you're going to create it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, can I ask how many people in this room would admit that we all do this? We all do this. Now, the question is, do you know what it is that you do? Because there's a number of topics that the mind loves to worry about. What do you guys think is the number one topic that most people worry about? Please let me know in the chat box. What do you guys think is the number one topic that most people worry about? Isn't it interesting? 90% of you are going to say the same thing because that's what most people worry about. Money, money, money. Always money. It's a rich man's world. Money. And so what do? Well, you lie in bed every night and you think to yourself, every month by the middle of the month, I'm broke. Every month by the middle of the month, I'm broke. I mean, you've been thinking this way for years, feeding that seed. Every month by the middle of the month, I'm broke. Grow for daddy. I never have enough money. So the more you keep, and they've even got songs to help you. Money's too tight to mention. Now, the more you keep thinking to yourself that every month by the middle of the month, I'm broke, firing those neurons, guess what you're going to believe? Every month by the middle of the month, I'm broke. Guess what you're going to achieve? Every month by the middle of the month, you're going to be broke, Kathy. Exactly. Now, guys, up until the age of 28, I always used to get to the end of the month with just $20 left in my bank account. Just $20. And I always thought it's because my boss didn't pay me enough money, because it's always someone else. And then one day I got a promotion with $1,000 a month increase. Guess what at the end of the month? $20. Then when I did the Mind Power course, I discovered what was stopping me from having money. What do you think it was? Here's a hint. My mind, because most of what's happening up here is absolute BS. And you guys know what I mean by BS? Please let me know. What do I mean by BS? Because this thing is full of BS. Does anybody know what BS stands for? Belief system. Yes, it's all belief system. So I started questioning my beliefs around money. And I suddenly realized I had so many negative beliefs around money. Like, how many of you know that saying, money can't buy you happiness? Please let me know in the chat box, ladies and gentlemen, true or false. Please let me know. Money and the poll. Let me know in the poll. Money can't buy happiness. True or false? I love asking, this is one of my favorite questions to ask an audience. Money can't buy you happiness. True or false? Ooh, it's almost 50-50. Money can't buy you happiness. True or false? Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, it's pretty much 50-50. 47% of you are saying it's true. 53%. I know some of you are sitting there and going, yes, Robin, yes, it's true. Money can't buy happiness. And I can see some of you are sitting there going, you don't know where to shop.
Thank you again for joining us. Another extraordinary session. Thank you for your great heart, Robin. Thank you for your great energy. Thank you all here for being present and on camera and powerful. Robin's going to take us out. You ready, Robin? Here we go.
I'm ready. And come on, guys. I'm alive. And every second, minute, hour, bigger, better, stronger, power.